living in the US, and the visa here is called the F1 visa. And what is the trick here? The interview is king. So what we are seeing that here are the processes and the things that you will have to go through. Step one, you have the acceptance. You have to have that. And then you're going to receive an I-20 form from SEVP school. Number two, you have to pay the service fee. And then you have to pay the I-900 fee, which is $350. And then number three, you have the forms, DS-160 form to fill up, submit an online application, and then you're going to have the interview. This is the consular appointment where you have to show up at either the consulate or the embassy based off of what you have in your country. The strategy here is you have to prove non-immigrant intent. So the hurdle here is that section 214 presumes you are an immigrant. So what you have to do is you have to prove strong ties to your home country, family assets, job offers, social status. You have to do that, because if you don't do it, you're not going to be granted a visa. Let us move on to the next one. We are looking at the UK, and you have the student visa, which is like a points-based system. So here, the scorecard we are looking at is you require 70 points. Let's break down those points. You have 50 points, confirmation of acceptance of study. You need that. 10 points, financial requirement, showing your tuition and your living expenses, that you can afford that. And then 10 points will be your English language proficiency. Side data that you have to think about is the cost. Application fee plus health surcharge. Oh my goodness, I cannot pronounce. You need to have that. And then the financial rule, money must be held for 28 consecutive days in the accounts that you are going to have to show. Dependents, it is banned for undergraduate and most master students. So if you're thinking about going with your dependents, think again, because probably it will not work out if you are looking for a visa for the UK. And then the living cost, you have to make sure that you approximate that carefully. Let us move on to the next visa category that we are going to be looking at, and we are in Canada. Here you need to apply for a study permit, and there are so many new rules in Canada that you have to pay attention to. So the major shift here is you have the SDS and NSC streams. It ended in November 2024. So the new reality is they have the regular stream only. So you should expect longer processing times. Not good at all. So the must-have document that you need in this process is the provincial attestation letter, the PAL, and it is required in addition to your letter of acceptance from your university. Probably confirm your spot within the provincial cap, then the result without the PAL application is returned. So you have to pay attention to that, else your application is going to be returned, and you don't want that to happen to you now, do you? The restrictions here, it is restricted to master's, PhD, and selected professional degrees in terms of spousal work. So if you have a spouse, if you have a family, you should think about this. And you have the work rights here, 24 hours week off campus, you can do the work. So you have to be careful and pay attention to all of this if you are going to be applying for a visa to Canada. Okay, the new rules, you have to pay attention to that. Now let us go on to Australia. The student visa category that you are going to be applying for is the Subclass 500, the priority tier system. So as you can see here, it is like a triangular shaped, and you have the priority 1, priority 2, priority 3. Okay, so priority 1, we are looking at the fastest way to get the visa. Here looking at schools, research, PhD, foreign affairs scholar, low risk providers. The processing time is going to be 1 to 4 weeks. Priority 2, this is the standard. You're looking at unis, Fed providers at 80% of cap. Processing time here is going to be 5 to 8 weeks. Priority 3, this is the slowest, providers exceeding caps, and the processing time here is going to be 9 to 12 weeks. So what is the strategy that you should use here? Check your provider's risk tier before applying. Priority 3, risk missing semester start. So be sure of the tier that you fall into and your provider falls into before you go ahead. At least ask them. Do some online research. Be sure of what category they fall into, such that you can manage your expectations. Okay, it is extremely important if you're going to be moving to Australia or applying for a visa to Australia. Now let us look at Europe, and this is like Schengen versus national visas. Guys, I just want to take a minute here to tell you all about my database. My database has everything that you need as someone's trying to study abroad. It has scholarships, graduate assistantships, application fee off universities, low tuition fee universities. It has samples, SOP samples, research proposal samples, CV samples, and then it has scholarships for specific targeted people. If you have a low GPA, if you've been applying and getting a ton of rejections, or if you're a newbie to the world of scholarships, it has information for you. And most importantly, because immigration news is changing almost all the time, you need to stay updated. So it has study abroad news. You get up every morning, all you do is just go to that database and it has everything that you need. You can now just spend all your time applying and not trying to search for what is the latest and what are the latest scholarships. The link is below. Sign up for it. We're going to look at Germany. We are going to look at France. France, you have the platform called Etudes en France, which is mandatory for 33 countries. For example, Senegal, Nigeria, India, China. You all have to go through the process. And then you have the post-arrival. You have to validate the VLS-TS long stay visa online via the ANEF within 3 months. That is extremely important that you should do. In Germany, you need to have your financial proof. The blocked account is extremely important, and those frozen funds have to stay. In fact, that blocked account is like frozen funds that have to stay in your account. And then in order to go through the entry, digital application via the consular services portal. The rule of thumb is you are looking at give and take 90 days when you are applying for all of these visas. So make sure you give yourself ample time in order to go through the process, okay? Now let us look at things that happen along the way as someone who is applying for a visa to whichever country, wherever you're going to. The first one is the financial hurdle, okay? You have to show the money. It says here, show me the money. You have to show the money because all of these countries are interested to see if you're going to come into their country and how are you going to be taking care of yourself? What are you going to be doing? It's extremely important, so they have to check for that. USA, what are the requirements? They want you to have a 1-year tuition plus living, bank statements, they want that shown. Canada, they want the GIC plus tuition, which is guaranteed investment certificate, recommended, okay? And then UK, they want the tuition plus about £12,000. That is, of course, living expenses in London, right? It is held for 28 consecutive days. Germany, they are looking for the 11,000-ish euros that you have to have in your blocked account. Something that can make them reject your visa is lump sum deposits appearing recently without an explanation will lead to rejection, because most times that money has to build up over time to show that that money was gradually getting into that account. If you had zero amount in your account and then all of a sudden you have 11,000 euro in your account, even if you're the one doing that visa processes, won't you think that that is suspicious? You think that is suspicious, right? Let us go to the other thing that you have to pay attention to, and this is bringing your family. It is gradually becoming a little bit complicated. So let's look at it. United Kingdom, it has banned it for undergraduates and for most masters, but it is open for PhD students and research students. Canada, they have restricted spousal open work permits. It's only for master's students, PhD students, law, med degrees. Oh my goodness. Australia, it is possible, but you must declare that in your initial application. Minors also is very, very important. The USA, it is open under the F2 visa category, which is available for spouse and children, but you must show the financial capacity to be able to support these people, this family, without work. Oh my goodness, you definitely should pay attention to all of these things. So what are the things that you have to do in order to manage the risk of getting rejected such that your student visa does not get rejected? Number one, financial stability. If anything you're showing does not show financial stability, if there is any financial instability, the chances that you are going to be rejected is high. Funds not liquid. For example, property unexplained large deposits, just like we explained earlier. The next one, a vague study plan. You cannot explain why this course because they may ask you about that. And then you're sort of doing course hopping. You do a diploma and then you do a master's, and then academic gaps without work history to explain, like, okay, what were you doing within this particular period? Because they're going to check through your entire history of things that you've done, right? And then the other thing is failure to show ties to your home country, like a job, a family. If you cannot prove that, they'll be like, you're just trying to go to that country and you're not going to go back. And then fraudulent documents. If you have fraudulent documents, as you can see here, 5 to 10 year ban. Do well to avoid that, okay? So you're going to have, let's close up this video by talking about the 12 months plan that you are going to come up in order to get your visa. The first thing you're going to do is you are going to go through a whole period of research and selection. Which ones do you want to go to? What is the process? The next steps, you're going to go through financial preparation because it's important. Then the next step, you're going to secure your admission. And then the next step, you will do your visa application, and then you will arrive in your study destination. So 9 months out, 6 months out, 3 months out, and then 0, like almost time out, then you will be done. I hope that this was helpful. I hope that this taught you a thing or two about how you should apply for your student visas in 2026. If it was, please do well to like the video, share the video with your brother, sister, auntie, uncle, anyone that is thinking about studying abroad in 2026. Follow this page, turn the notifications on, and I am going to see you all in the next one. Peace.